ahead and get this show on the road. Of course. All right, so my name's Adam. I'm a tech integration coach from Rosie, California. And like, where the heck is that? It's in the middle of California. It is not what you see on TV. It is not the Bay Area. It is not the beaches and the palm trees of Southern California. What it is, it might remind you of the Midwest. If I dropped you out of a parachute in the middle of Central California, you would think you are in the Midwest. Nothing but farms. The students that I serve in grades 6 through 12 at Alani Middle School and Rosie High School, they are 95% the children of Mexican migrant farm workers. I have a lot of students who would probably sooner spit on the American flag than ever salute it. That's the kind of mindset we live. We're unincorporated, one of the poorest communities in the country, but I love this place. 95% ELs, actually not 95, but 95% Mexican American students, about 4.5% Filipino, and I can count all the white students I've ever taught on two hands. So that's where I work, and I love it. Every community, every school has their own set of challenges. Those are just some of the ones I face, and I face them head on. You have my contact information, you have my email and my website, which you will see on almost every slide. You can see I'm kind of busy, I get around. I've hit the grand slam with Google, which I'm very proud of, but all this happened in less than 2 years. It wasn't like, oh, well, that's a plan. I'm going to get all these certifications. One led to another, and it's just so empowering because it leads me to connect with so many great people like I see in front of me today. So, it works. So, you have to get to know me just a little bit. My name's Adam. I'm the patriarch of the A team because all of my daughters and I all have names that start with the letter A. Okay, when I'm really passionate about something, I get a tattoo. I got the Google Innovator tattoo right here. And the A team, boom, look at that, A team, right there. Those are my daughters, I love them. Ashley's the bandit, she's 7. We have Ariel, she's the ninja, not ninja, because Ashley could not say ninja when she was little, it came out ninja, so the name is stuck with us. And then we have Andrina, she's going to be 5 very soon. She is the animal. Think of the Muppets so you know what I'm talking about. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I do this before every session because the teachers I learn from the best were the ones who opened themselves up to me and let me know a little bit about them and help me connect with them. So hopefully we connect. And I'm the world's foremost expert on Fresno State football. You're like, yeah, this is Big Ten territory. We don't care about Fresno State. But my dad was the equipment manager for 20 years. I grew up every day after school in the locker room with many future NFL players. It was just a wonderful place to grow up. And I totally, Bulldog football is in my blood. And then people were like, but dude, you didn't go to school at Fresno State. You went to Fresno Pacific across town. Well, yeah, I never really want to go to school there. I just like the football team. So I got my degree in social studies and my teacher credential, also in social studies at Fresno Pacific, and played on the men's soccer team. Even though I don't look like I played soccer, I used to. Anyways. So, yeah, skip that part. Yeah, that's an old slide. So, why Google Classroom? Google Classroom, I like to call it a launch pad for learning. So why? Why even jump into it? Well, if you want an obvious reason why is maybe your district bought you a bunch of Chromebooks. So what better than Google Classroom to really leverage all the power of those Google devices and get those Chromebooks. So the person who wrote the book on Google Classroom, her name is Alice Keeler. You may have run into her the last couple of days of this conference. She's one of the first persons I've learned from Google Classroom. And she always says that it's the world's greatest filing system. It's not a learning management system. It's a filing system. And just think about it. Every time you create an assignment, it creates a folder for you. And it also does that for the students as well. So it really makes filing, organizing your Google Drive so much easier. And also, you assign something, it goes on your calendar, it goes on the kid's calendar. It can eliminate that excuse, oh, I forgot to do it. Well, you should be checking your calendar. We know you're checking your phone all the time. Maybe you should have the Google Calendar app on your phone. So, one of my big mantras here, when I first became a tech coach 4 years ago, I needed something to get into classrooms. Teachers would look at me like, oh no, stay away. Stay away. Don't make me uncomfortable with all your tech stuff. So I'm like, how do I get in there? How do I get into the classroom? Well, I got to make their lives easier. So I read Matt Miller's book, Ditch That Textbook. And you may think, dude, he ripped off Matt Miller. Don't worry, I'm cool with Matt Miller. I showed him the sticker last year. He thought it was cool. He put it on his laptop. Big win for me. So I call it ditch that copier. Because what it does, it makes you more efficient. Because everybody in here, I'm sure, has a horror story with the copy machine. You have to fight for it, right? There's a big line. And then you finally get there, oh, it's out of toner. And then you gotta shake it, and you get that crap all over your hands and your clothes, right? And then, okay, it jams. And you go through this convoluted schematic trying to find where the jam is. You pull the paper out, it still doesn't work. It's some tiny little speck. It's stuck somewhere, and it's so aggravating. So many lessons have been ruined by a malfunctioning copier. So I use Google Classroom as kind of like the base, the launchpad for Ditch That Copier, using a lot of different third-party apps that work with G Suite to help me eliminate that need to go to the copier. So if you have Chromebooks, you should be using Google Classroom. It saves you time. You save time, you have much more time now to design more empowering lessons rather than a lot of kind of sit and get, teacher-directed lessons. So the Launchpad here. With Google Classroom, what can you do with it? Well, one of the simplest things to do with it is to pass out and collect papers instantly, except there's no papers. It's Google Docs. Maybe it's slides. Maybe it's a drawing. Maybe it's something else. But you get instantaneously, the kids turn in, and you can give it back so much quicker. You don't have to carry a stack of papers with you. I see paper kids doing that. I used to spill coffee on the papers I would take home to grade. I don't do that anymore with Google Classroom. I used to lose kids' work. And it's going to give you an A now because that was my bad. Now, I spill coffee on my computer, that sucks, but I can go grab another computer, log in, and boom, to the magic of the cloud, it's waiting there for me right where I left off. You can instantly share links. Okay, that right there seems so simple, but it's such a great way to really extend and expand learning. Okay, yeah, you can sit there and make a copy of a Google Doc in here, go in and write, but you can link to so many other services out there. Services that maybe you've seen in the expo hall that I'll kind of just touch on in a few minutes. You can use Google Classroom as a launchpad to facilitate collaboration among students. We'll talk about that in a minute. And one of my favorite things to do with Google Classroom, what really helped me ditch that copier. In my district, there was a huge push to mark the text. I remember when that first started, teachers were spending hours at the copier. We have to spend our own budget on toner and paper. And we're making copy after copy, packet after packet, where the kids are going to mark the text, which is a very valid and important skill for the kids to learn. But what if the kid highlights something? Oh, I need a new packet. What if they lose it? I mean, let's be honest. Kids today with their backpacks, it's like a black hole. It goes in there, you're likely never to see it again. It gets crumpled up, and the learning is lost. I'm going to talk about a third-party app that works with G Suite called DocHub. It's one of my favorites. And there's another one called Kami, which is very similar. So whichever one you like, it'll allow you to mark the text digitally, and you get to save the trees, save the environment. So one of the first basic steps you should probably learn with Google Classroom, it's the most simple thing to get started. You just dip in your toe into the pool of Classroom, make a copy for each student. That's one of the first steps towards ditching that copier. Real simple. You assign a Google Doc. Let's say you want them to do a quick write. All you got to do is simply attach that document that you created, your original. If you made a template, if you made a graphic organizer, whatever it is, you attach it to the assignment. And when it says the first permission, it says can view file. But if you click the drop down, you can make a copy for each student. And what that is, it's like this when you see that picture. It's the same thing as if you got up with a stack of papers and handed it out to everybody. The difference is, when you make a copy for each student, it has their name on it already. And you don't have to read their bad handwriting. It has spell check. That's also going to help you with your teacher brain. You don't have to sit there and just nearly as much struggling trying to read their bad handwriting and deciphering their bad grammar. There's tools within Docs that will help improve all of those things. At the same time, if you give them a doc, you can provide real-time feedback through the comment function, through the chat function, and really improve that feedback loop. Now, let's talk a little bit about DocHub. DocHub is one of my favorites. This is really going to help you ditch that copy. I'm going to spend quite a few slides on here. If I go through quickly, never fear, because these slides are all available for you to refer to at any time. So DocHub, when I push out DocHub, I will not make a copy for each student. Because DocHub allows you, think of it as free Adobe. You can annotate PDFs. You can mark the text. You can circle, highlight, underline, put stickers, put text boxes that they can fill out worksheets if they have to. And I'm not a big proponent of worksheets, but once in a while we come across a really good one that you want kids to use, maybe a graphic organizer. They can use the text function to type in text boxes anywhere on there while not ever manipulating the actual original copy. Your original copy stays clean. That's the beauty of it. So with a PDF, you would click on students can view file. And so all they need to do is view it. They don't need to make a copy for each student. So once they open it in viewing mode, they click the Open With button at the top of the file, and they'll click DocHub. Now, some of you may not have DocHub enabled within your domain. All you gotta do is click on Connect More Apps, do a search, and then it will start showing up as one of the options for opening a PDF. You can even set it to be your default if that's what you want to choose. Now, I have seen a couple things with DocHub a couple hurdles that get in the way. Now, sometimes you'll open up the file and you won't see that Open With button at the top. That has happened depending on the device that you're working on. In my district, we have a variety of different Chromebooks, from Samsung to Dell to Acer. So for some reason, it's a quirk that I've noticed. Now, when you don't see the Open With, you'll see the three little dots in the top right corner. All you gotta do is click Open a New Window. Then when you open a new window, then the Open With will show up and DocHub will be available. So if you ever see that, go to the three dots. I tell people with anything Google, always click the three dots. There's a lot of cool hidden features every time you do. So when you mark the text with DocHub, here's what it could look like. What this here was the actual DBQ that I had assigned to some students. So you can see where I was able to, I can type in the margins using the text. If you look at there on the top, across the toolbar, you can see the letter A button there. That's where you can create a text box. Draw a text box as big or as small as you want and type whatever you like within it. So if you want to put their name on it, they can do that. They can put the date, they can type questions, they can type whatever they like, comments within the margins anywhere they would like on the PDF. Like if I use the next button over is the pen button, which can be used to circle things. So if you're in ELA, if you want to do a grammar check, so have kids maybe circle the verbs, underline the proper nouns, whatever you like. You can use the pen tool to circle, underline, and redraw a box. The next button over, if you look there right in the middle of the toolbar, is the highlight function. And that's, again, if you get the premium version, you can do more than just yellow. For premium, I'm not sure, I think DocHub costs about $8 a month. But if you can get your district to pay for the premium, it's definitely worth it if you do a lot of text marking. So for the highlighting, you simply just draw a box, like you do a text box around what you want to highlight, and it highlights it for you. So that's just one simple example. We also see a couple little stamps you see there. I have a warning sign stamp and a question mark right next to the question mark little button across the top. It gives you a big list of different color stamps that you can put on there. So maybe you tell them when you find, maybe if you want to get real deep into it, you find a gerund. I'm not even ELA, but I do remember gerund. Okay, 13th Catholic school, I got a lot of that ELA grammar stuff there. So a gerund, maybe put a warning sign next to a gerund if you really want to get fancy with your text marking. So how do you collect this now? It's not as simple as here. Just give you a packet. You have to flip through it. So top right corner, you'll see a button there. It says click here. It says click here, and when you do that, it's going to give you this menu. It gives you a variety of choices, and actually there's I messed up on some of my slides, but okay, no big deal. So kids can download it to their Chromebook. They can download it to Google Drive, or if you put, again, like I'm promoting, you can push this out through Google Classroom. Click on the Classroom, and it's going to open up the kids. As long as their Google Classroom has been enabled and synced, it opens up all the classrooms that they're part of. They click on your class, and then all your assignments show up, and they click on the assignment where they want this file to go. The beauty about DocHub, it's like anything with Google. You don't have to click Save. It saves it automatically for you. So if you've opened it in DocHub before, you can go find it back in Drive. Open it with DocHub again. And what it's going to do, it's going to give you, when you open it up, it's going to give you two choices. It says make open existing or start over. Always, if you want kids to continue working where they left off, they have to use existing. Or else it's going to give them a whole clean version and they've lost their work. So there's a variety of things you can do with DocHub. So if you do the download to the Google Drive option, once you download it, you're going to see this, what I circled right there, you're going to see that. If you see that, it's been saved. You have your own edited copy of that PDF is now saved in your drive. And it can be sent out however you like to whomever you want. Let me tell a story about this one here. DocHub saved my life once. I'm being dramatic, but bear with me. One of the first presentations I ever did outside of my district had to do with DocHub. And to my surprise, my first out-of-district presentation, I got paid, so I thought it was really cool. And I forgot to sign like one document, at least the guy in charge of paying me forgot to give me to sign one document. So he's like, hey, can you drive over here and sign these documents? Well, I live in rural Central California. Those roads are not safe. I mean, who knows what could happen me driving 30 minutes through those country roads. I could have gotten into an accident. I could have been killed. So I told the guy, can you just email me a PDF of this? He's like, oh yeah, no problem. So within 5 minutes, I got the PDF. I used the signature function of DocHub, which on the free version, you can sign 5 documents a month. You can upload your signature to it as an image, or it actually allows you where you can actually, like, with your mouse or give a touch screen, you can draw it out. I signed it, boom, sent it back to him, boom, got paid. But who knows what could have happened on that trip? I could have died. It might be being dramatic, sure, yeah. But that's a fun story. So let's say the kid has worked on it over a couple days, marking the text, and they have it saved in their drive. They can either just turn it into Google Drive from DocHub, or all they got to do is open up the assignment in Google Classroom. They click on Add, and then they're going to choose Google Drive as a destination, and it's going to pop up automatically with the most recent thing. That's what I love about Google Classroom. It always goes to the most recent thing, so kids don't have to go fishing through their drive trying to find what they've done. Because let's be honest, we've probably all looked at a lot of Google Drives before, and what's the thing that you see over and over? Untitled document, untitled document, untitled document. This kind of helps prevent them from uploading the wrong thing or not being able to find it. Because if it's very recent, it's going to show up right there. Click on it, hit Add. Oops. Click Add, and it's turned in. So, let's move away from DocHub just for a minute. This is 20 minutes, it's hard to get all this in. I'm going to do my best. So, I talked about when you blast off in Google Classroom, it's very easy to share links to other apps and third-party apps and other resources with Google Classroom. And some of the 4 things I like to blast off with, we can start here with things like Edpuzzle. You can use the question feature in Google Classroom. Quizzes is a great way to get quick gamified formative assessment, and it makes it hard for the kids to cheat, because if I'm sitting next to so-and-so, that jumbles the questions for me. And kids love the gamified version of doing your assessment that. We do some of our official common assessments on quizzes, because it spits out a beautiful spreadsheet when it's all done of every kid, and you can really do some error analysis with the students. And Quizlet. Quizlet did not have a booth in the expo. They had people with their shirts on walking around. I'll show you right now a Quizlet live if you really want to force kids to speak and collaborate when they review. Slides. All right, so I'm going to fail forward here. It's all right. We got this. So, how many of you have ever heard of Edpuzzle? Okay, some of you, most of you. All right, some of you. So, Edpuzzle, think of this. You have kids watch a YouTube video. Well, what are they going to do with it? You're going to give them a paper quiz? Some of them may just sit there and watch it and do nothing with it. Or, Edpuzzle, what if you could put questions at different spots within the video, and they can't move on until they've answered the question. Edpuzzle integrates perfectly with Google Classroom. And you can put checking for understanding questions within a YouTube video. Khan Academy, there's a variety of different sources that you can pull videos from and put actual questions within the video. and then it's going to give you a nice little report afterwards, and so you can see in real time how many kids have answered which question, and then you get a nice report afterwards showing you how the kids did. In Google Classroom itself, they have a fairly recent update called the question function. Okay, if you've ever gone to college online, one of the biggest parts of an online course is the message board. A popular platform is called Blackboard. And when I got my master's degree online, we were posting on Blackboard, and you had to put your 2 cents into a prompt and then respond to at least 3 people just to get your daily grade. You can do that with the question function in Google Classroom and have a digital academic conversation. And Quizlet, we'll go to Quizlet Live. Quizlet is free. When you think of Quizlet, normally you're thinking, okay, all that is digital note cards. Well, there's more to it than just that. There's a lot of little games you can play with Quizlet. It gamifies review. But if you are willing to only pay $35 for a year subscription, Quizlet, you have the option to now do Quizlet Live. So what it'll do, you have the kids join Quizlet Live, and the same way that maybe you join Classroom, you can use a code. The kids go to Quizlet.live, they use the code, and once you have the whole class in there, it randomly groups them in groups of 3 or 4. And it gives them every question. And then, but each kid in the group has 1 or 2 potential answers. But only one of them has the right answer. So they have to huddle up, either on their Chromebooks or on their phones. And then from there, all they got to do, they have to talk. They have to talk about the prompt, the question, and figure out which one of us has it. So it forces kids to get up and then talk to each other, which is something that a lot of times we rack our brains. How do we get them to actually focus? And when we get them in groups, to actually talk about what we want them to talk. I work with a lot of difficult kids, and they love this. And I've seen huge jumps in their performance on some of our common assessments when I have them do Quizlet Live before they review. They tell me, hey, I'll give them 10 minutes just to go on Quizlet and review solo. And then they say, okay, can we collaborate now? And I just do it over and over, and every time, and then I put them in different groups. They have to find each other. And what a real fun way to do is they have to create funny names for themselves. I don't use it as a measure of assessment. I use it as a measure of review. The last one I'll share with you is quizzes. Anyone here familiar with Kahoot? If you know Kahoot, you can do quizzes. Here's why I like quizzes better than Kahoot. Because Kahoot, the kids have to look at their screen, and then they have to look up at your screen. And there can be some mix-up there. On quizzes, it's more self-directed, and you get the same gamification, but in the long run, they feel like there's more control. And I've seen better scores when they go on quizzes than Kahoot. So, I'd like to thank you guys for coming out and seeing me during your summer vacation. Feel free to connect with me at goldwaters14@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter at TechCoachWaters. Follow me, I will follow you back, and look forward to connecting with you